Snow falls lightly around me, flakes settling on my dark armor, clinging to the edges of my cape, which barely stirs in the frozen air. The chill has seeped deep into my bones, even through the layers of steel that enclose me. I sit here, leaning against this ancient, weathered stone wall of a fortress that's seen more battles than I could recount, though my own tally would come close. My hands rest on the hilt of my sword, its blade piercing the snow-covered ground at my feet. In my weariness, the blade feels less like a tool of war and more like a crutch to prop up my tired soul. The world around me is silent, save for the occasional howl of wind through the bare trees. Shadows from the setting sun stretch long and dark across the ground, casting a somber tone across the landscape. Far in the distance, I can make out the outline of a castle, its turrets rising like skeletal fingers, clawing toward the bleak sky. There's a flicker of light within its walls, just barely visible, a reminder that life still stirs, but not within me. "This is what you wanted," a voice in my head whispers, sharp and accusing. It sounds like my own voice, though twisted, harsher. "This is the glory you sought in battle." I close my eyes, hoping to drown out the sound, but another voice surfaces, gentler, almost pleading. "Why do you keep going? You have no more battles to win. Lay down your sword and find peace." But where could I go? The thought rises unbidden, bitter as bile. Every path forward feels as desolate as this one. I have been a knight all my life, molded by the fires of duty and honor. To lay down my sword is to renounce the only purpose I've ever known. Yet here I sit, surrounded by the emptiness that's followed me after every victory, every conquest. The weight of my armor seems heavier with each passing year. "It's only pride that keeps you here," the harsher voice insists. Pride and a thirst for violence. The thought chills me more than the biting wind. I've told myself that I fight for others, for the weak, the helpless, for the sake of something greater. But what if, at the core of it, I only sought a reason to raise my sword? What if all this armor, these layers of steel, have only ever hidden the truth of who I am? "You're a knight. You can't abandon your duty," the gentler voice replies, as if to soothe me. "Without duty, who are you?" The question digs deep, carving into the cracks of my resolve. I open my eyes and look out at the world beyond the fortress, at the barren, snow-covered landscape that stretches endlessly, as empty as I feel inside. My cape, dark as midnight, catches a stray snowflake or two, and for a moment it almost feels like I am as still and lifeless as the stone behind me. "They're all dead," another voice in my head murmurs, sad and resigned. "All the ones you fought beside. They had the mercy of falling in battle, but you remain, holding on to a life you no longer understand." Memories stir, faces, voices, the gleam of steel, and the thrill of triumph. But they are only memories, faded with time. Those companions, brothers in arms, they fell, one by one, to the cold earth, leaving me here, a ghost haunting the ruins of my past. I grip my sword tighter, its familiar weight both comforting and burdensome. The blade rests in the snow, yet it seems to throb with a life of its own, as if calling me to raise it once more. But against what? I am alone. There are no foes here, only the endless white silence. "Rest," whispers one voice, urging me to let go. "Your battles are over." "Keep fighting," counters the other, "if not for yourself, then for their memory." And yet, here I remain, caught between the two voices, each one pulling at me, neither offering solace. I stare at the castle in the distance, its faint light glowing against the encroaching darkness, and feel a strange emptiness, a hollow echo of the life I once knew. I want to reach that place, to see if the warmth within its walls could thaw this frozen heart. But something holds me here, seated in this desolate snow, in my armor that now feels like a cage. My helmet obscures my face from the world, but in truth, It is my own soul that I hide from. Perhaps I will rise and journey toward that light, or perhaps I will stay here until I am as frozen as the ground beneath me. I do not know. For now, I sit, alone with the echoes of battles long past, and the silence of a world that seems to have forgotten me. Pain floods every inch of me. Beneath my armor, blood seeps from countless wounds, staining the snow around me a dark crimson. I had thought this wall would provide some refuge, a place to catch my breath, but now I know it is simply the last place I will rest. The cold seeps in through my armor, blending with the dull ache of bruises, cuts, and broken bones. My vision blurs as I look at the sword planted before me, the blade that has cut down so many, the weapon that has shaped the course of my life. It feels absurd, this final moment, knowing that every clash, every swing, every battle, all of it, has led me here, to die alone on a frozen field. Memories surge through me, unbidden, vivid despite the haze of pain. I see the faces of soldiers I've slain, men who were fighting for lords, for titles, for crowns, reasons that never truly mattered. I hear the war cries, feel the clash of steel, smell the metallic scent of blood in the air, and in all of it, I see myself as nothing more than a pawn, a tool wielded by the powerful who never set foot on these fields of death, who never bore the wounds that mark my flesh. They sat in their castles, I think, bitterness filling the void where my strength once was. They sat by warm fires, surrounded by luxury, while we killed each other in their name. An anger, fierce and raw, courses through me, making my fists tighten against the hilt of my sword. The rage surges, burning hotter than the pain, a final rebellion against the life I've led. They used me. They used all of us, men made for war and bred for loyalty, nothing more than tools for their games. And I was too blind, too eager for glory to see it. If only I had known. But my strength is fading. The anger, too, wanes, becoming little more than an ember in the cold. I breathe slower now, each breath shallower than the last, a reminder that my time has nearly run out. My body slumps, and the sword I've held onto for so long feels heavy, slipping from my grasp as my fingers loosen. The world around me darkens, and the sound of the wind fades, leaving only the quiet of my own slowing heartbeat. In these final moments, a strange clarity fills me. A regret, heavy and sorrowful, settles over me, a wish that I could tell the world that none of it was worth it, that all the bloodshed, all the loss, all the battles, it was all for nothing. There is no honor in this life I chose, no glory in dying alone on a frozen battlefield for causes I never believed in. My breaths come slowly now, each one harder to draw than the last. I feel the warmth leaving my body, my fingers numb, my thoughts drifting as my vision darkens. If I could tell them, the thought lingers, fading with the last strength I have. But I am too weak, too far gone, and there will be no words to pass on the truth. All that remains is silence, and then nothing. And in that final silence, with the snow falling around me, I am gone.